Have you ever had a design idea that felt clear in your head but was too abstract to explain? That's exactly where quick vibe prototyping comes in. In this video, I will show how I use ChatGPT to test screen behavior and interaction logic. We'll take an idea, use voice prompts, get instant visual feedback, and turn it into a working prototype, all inside ChatGPT. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's see one example on how I can take idea I have in my head and prototype it to understand it better. In that example, I don't want to prototype to show a developer. I just have a concept and I want to create a simple prototype in an easy way with vibe coding to understand how my idea works and behave. Because basically when we design an interface, we have the idea on the head, and if it's a static screen, we can understand that directly from the interface. But basically, if it's something with movement, to understand it better, we need to create the interactions. But with prototype, we are very limited. So I will show how I do it with ChatGPT in a very simple way. We have here an interface of an explanation. Let's imagine that is educational application that I work in, and I have a concept that the people can read the information, but because today it's difficult for us to read a lot of information, we need it in simple chunk. And also, not always we understand the information in a very simple way. So we need another explanation or another example. So the concept works like that. In that case, I explain what the design system is. And here I write what is a design system. I have a brief explanation. And here below, as you can see, there is an example. If I click here on the next, it will give me another example. And if I click again on next, it will give me another example. Same for component in action and real world design systems. Every time the user needs another explanation, they can click and they will get it. In that way, the user will be able to understand more easily the concept without overwhelmed with a lot of information. So this is the concept. And let's move to ChatGPT to see how I develop the concept with the chat to be able to explain to the LLM model the logic of the application in a simple way. So let's move to ChatGPT one moment. I am here on ChatGPT. Let's make it a little bit bigger. You can see it here. Basically what I did is that I talk to the AI model. You can write, but I talk because here on the bottom I have the button of talking. I mean this one. So basically I just talk as you hear me now to the LLM model what I want to do. And also I said to the LLM model that I wanted to explain the idea in a simple way. You can see it here. So please take the information I showed you now and write it in a very simple way. The chat responded to me. You can see it here. The application helps you to understand complex topics in a simple way, a fixed explanation on the top, a dynamic section below that shows different ways to explain it. And also it's explain the logic. Stay with the first explanation if they understand it. Click next or more to see another way to understand the same topic. And here I have the image I added. And basically what I explained this prompt that I want it will be general. So for example, if I would talk in design system, it can add section that common design systems. But if I talk on another topics, the sections can be, for example, analogics. So this is from here. And now the chat responded me. It's explained how it works. Each screen starts with a fixed header that introduces the topic with a clear title and description. Below the header, the interactive section that explains the topic using different methods. These sections use left and right Chevron buttons to let users browse through the different explanation on the page. So this is the key idea. And now the chat asked me, let me know if you want developer ready version or wireframe description text. So what I will send now to the chat that I want to create for me the interface with code. I will write it down one moment. So I write to the chat, yes, create for me a developer ready version based on the image. And one important thing, I will click here on canvas, so it will open for me the canvas feature, so I will able to click and understand the interaction. So let's send now the information to the chat and see how it's built for us, the interface. You can see how it starts to write the code and all the information inside. So it's finished to work. Let's click on preview. And as you can see, it's created for me this interface, but basically it's missed all the information I said to it. You can see it here. This is missing. This one. So I will copy the image again. I will paste the image here and I will write to the chat, please create the interface as is, and I add the image. So let's see if it will generate. If not, I will need to add more information so it will able to create the interface 100%. It's finished the work. Let's see the result. I click on preview and you can see it add the information here. Now it's not exactly the design I did in Figma. You can see it here. So what I will do now, I will add the CSS information so it will be exactly as I designed it here. Basically, I also can import it to Lovable or Figma, but in that case, I want to show you only with ChatGPT how you can iterate easily. And by the way, to understand the interaction, I don't need to create it 100%. I can click and it will work. But let's assume that we want to create it 100% as we designed it. So one moment I fix it, and I will show how I did it. Okay, it's finished, and as you can see here, if I click on the chevron, it's add me more information about, in that case, the example of design system. Okay, if I click here, it show me another example in real world design system. I can click here and basically it's work and I can understand the interaction. One thing that I understand from this interaction is that basically, as you can see here, if I have two lines and now it's go to one line, there is a movement in the interface and this is not very elegant. So for example, this thing is difficult to understand from static pages, because what happened in static pages is that we cannot see the interaction and this behavior. So I will show how I created it. First of all, I go one moment to Figma. In Figma, you can see here all the specs. So what I did, I select all the interface here, click on the menu, and here I click on specs. That basically it's a plugin for Figma that if I click on run, it's create for me all the specs as you can see here. So this is for developers, but what I did here, I copied the image, moved to ChatGPT, paste it here, you can see it here, and ask the chat, fix the CSS based on this information. And to be honest, it didn't work. So I tried twice. And at the end, what I did is that I used the model O3 of OpenAI because it is more powerful model that can handle more complex tasks. And this is, to be honest, not very easy task because there is a lot of information here and the LLM model need to understand it. So in that case, more powerful model helped me to solve the issue. So you can see I ask it to fix the CSS here, and then I ask it the same prompt, but in that case with O3, it think a little bit, but at the end solve the issue. And then what I ask it to do, it's that the chevron was not exactly as I wanted and they placed it here. So I copied for Figma. Let's move to Figma to see it. So here in Figma, I click on the chevron. I click here on copy as SVG and then pasted it on ChatGPT. You can see here the code. Okay, and I asked it to add the same chevrons, but it didn't work well. So at the end, to save time, I said it, okay, now search for other chevron you have from another icon library, because for this case, it doesn't matter what chevrons to have. I just want to test the interaction. So it's find an icon, add it, and then at the end, I click on the chevron. They didn't work. So I ask it to create the logic, as you can see here. The application is designed to help simple focus way, how it's worked. So basically what I did, I go to the top of this chat, copy how it's work, paste it here, and now I have a full functional application that simulates to me my idea. So for example, I can understand how it's work. And as I said before here, I don't like the lines move up and down. So this is something I can solve in advance to be able to design a better user experience and not find it when I send it to the developer, for example. So as you can see, this is the way I did it here in ChatGPT. As I said before, you can do it also with Lovable, Bolt, Anima, and to be honest, it will be a little bit easier because you can take the exact design from Figma and work there. Also, if you have access today to Figma Make, you can do it also there, much easier than work in chat. But the thing for me in that video, not to show you only the easy way. I want to show how I iterate in the screen so you will be able to do the same, because basically the most important is to understand how to show and explain the LLM models what you want to achieve. So this is all for this video. Thanks for watching. If you're looking for a product design to level up your business, or you're curious about bringing AI into your workflow, my contact info down in the description. Feel free to reach out anytime. And if you get value from this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, or drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thought or any questions you have got. See you in the next one. Take care.